I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. Just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice. And there shall be one flock and one shepherd. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life, only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and authority to take it up again. This command I received from my Father.
Welcome back, family. I wanted to share some more fascinating connections with the shepherds in the Bible. This stuff really is spiritual in nature. It's something that shows foreknowledge throughout the entire Bible, and all of these little stories that we think are just random, little details along the way of things that have happened in history. However, I don't think that's the case after seeing what I'm starting to see here, and I wanted to share it because I'm telling you, it's mind-blowing, and it takes us back to that first person to be killed, and he was an innocent shepherd, and he was keeping his father's sheep. And so Cain, being the one tilling the ground, was jealous of this acceptable sacrifice that Abel had just made, and so he killed him. And that was the first murder of the Bible. So literally the first person born on this world, not made, but born, Cain, was a murderer, and he killed his own brother, that innocent shepherd. And so once that happens, we don't see another shepherd encounter until we look at Jacob. And I'm not saying that Jacob was a shepherd all the time, or that that was his main job, but there was a time where he came upon a well, which would later become known as Jacob's well, that he saw 3 flocks of sheep, it says here in Genesis. And there was a great stone upon the well's mouth. And so he's in this field, there's a well, there's a great stone on top of it, and there's 3 flocks of sheep. And so what did he do? He removed that stone, of course, and he watered the 3 flocks of sheep. I know there's something to that, and I'm hoping you guys will see some things and share your understandings of that, because I feel like there is something there. I just don't quite understand it yet. But that is one thing that I feel is significant, like many other things that we just read past. And then the third shepherd encounter, maybe not in that order, there's probably more, but one that I feel is significant is the one with the son of Jacob, who is known as Joseph. And if you're not familiar with that story, Jacob was a twin. He's the one that eventually became known as Israel, and he had 12 children that would become the 12 tribes of Israel, with him being Israel. And he didn't become Israel until he persevered, and so that was after his 12 sons were born, I believe. And so Joseph was one of the 12 tribes, or one of the 12 sons of Jacob. And so Joseph was one of his favorite sons for a reason, because he was the firstborn to Rachel, who was his favorite wife, the one that he originally wanted to marry, but he was tricked into marrying her sister. It's a really good drama series. If you like drama, read that. Read about that. It'll take you on quite the ride for this poor Jacob character who just wanted Rachel and ended up having a lot of drama unfold due to him being tricked. But he was happy to have Rachel and do whatever he had to do to get her. And Joseph was the firstborn of Rachel. And so Joseph, it tells us here in Genesis, was a 17-year-old teenager. And he is feeding the flock with his brothers. And it says, the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. And so these shepherds, they weren't being good shepherds. I don't know what they were doing, but they were doing evil, according to Joseph. And he goes to his father to tell them, hey, this is what's going on. This is what my brothers are doing. And so you have Joseph doing that. And after he does that, around that time, his father makes him this coat of many colors, and his brothers are looking at him, and they're jealous, of course, because here's the favorite son, of his favorite wife. And I don't want to say the favorite son, but definitely highly favored. And so you have Joseph, who is now wearing the coat of many colors. He's the favored son, and he has this dream, essentially, of them all collecting wheat, these sheaves of wheat, and he says that his sheaf arose, and stood upright, and theirs were basically bowing down to his, telling them that they will be bowing down to him. And so they're already jealous, they're angry, they're conspiring to kill him, and they're saying things like, hey, let's just go ahead, slay this guy, put him in a pit, and we'll just tell our dad that a beast killed him, while he came to check on us. So you have this innocent guy that they're saying a beast is going to kill. But fortunately, Reuben steps in and says, hey, let's not kill him. We can put him in a pit still, kind of go along with the plan partially, but at least spare his life. And so that's what ends up happening. They sell him into slavery. He gets brought into Egypt, where even though he's a slave in Egypt or a servant, he is blessed by the Most High, and he has prospered in his role as a servant. And he is a servant of one of Pharaoh's officers named Potiphar. And so after he's there, of course, Potiphar's wife, she starts taking a liking to him as well, and starts making advances toward him and saying, hey, here I am, take me, my husband's gone. She's really trying to seduce him, but he's not having it. He cares about the Most High. He wants to do what's right. He also wants to honor Potiphar, and so he doesn't do it, and eventually she gets mad and makes a false accusation that lands him in prison, where he is continually blessed as well. Even though he's in prison and it's under bad circumstances, the Father is taking care of him. He's blessing him, and he's gaining favor with the prison guards and all of that. They can see that he's blessed. And as this is happening, he interprets a couple of dreams. They both come true, both of those interpretations. And one of the people that he interpreted their dreams of remembers that when the Pharaoh has a dream, and they call on Joseph to be, out of prison to interpret this dream, and he does. And it's a dream about a 7-year famine that's going to happen. So there's the 7 years of plenty, the 7 years of famine, and Joseph, this once innocent shepherd, is able to help save the people of Egypt. But not only that, his entire family that would have died during that 7-year famine, the seed of Jacob, the one that was prophesied to bless every nation, would have died out. But it can't. Once the Father speaks something, there is a plan in action, a plan to save his people. And so this falsely imprisoned shepherd that was cast into a pit was sent there for a reason. And I want to read this right here. This is the verse where he is telling them who he is, because they didn't know who he was. They were afraid of him. I'm sure he was not dressed like he used to be, and he looked totally different, more like an Egyptian, I would assume, being that that's where he was and that's where he was ruling over. And so, gaining that seat of authority, they were terrified of him. And rightfully so. They could have been put to death easily. And so it says here, Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now, therefore, be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves that you sold me into slavery, essentially, or sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years. So he's telling them there's 5 more years of this famine. They would definitely die. They were near death at this time, I believe, after 2 years of famine, in which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve you, a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. And so he's telling them, don't feel bad about that. It was for a purpose. And they're bowing down for him, just like in his dream with the sheaves. And so there is that shepherd Joseph, the innocent shepherd, just like Abel. Instead of being killed, though, by his brother, like Abel was, he was imprisoned. And that was what was used to set them free. So really, really cool story there. I really like that story. It's sad the things that happened, but the Father used him in spite of all the accusations and all of the false imprisonments and all of that. He was able to set the seed of Jacob free. And of course, most of you know, after that incident, the seed of Jacob prospered in Egypt, so much so that the kings were worried about them, and they were worried about being overthrown, so they put them in slavery. And they grew and grew and continued to multiply, and they began to fulfill the prophecy of them being so numerous until they were oppressed big time, and that's where Moses comes on the scene, someone who was also similar to Joseph, gaining favor in Egypt even though he was a Hebrew. He was native born, but nonetheless he was a seed of Jacob Israelite. And so you have Moses leaving Egypt, to save his own life. He's leaving Egypt, and what happens? He comes to a well. Similar to Jacob, he comes to a well, and there are flocks of sheep there, but there are also 7 daughters of the priest of Midian there, and there are some bad shepherds. And so what does Moses do to the bad shepherds that are interfering with these women being able to water their flock? It says Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And so you have Moses, not necessarily a shepherd, but helping to water the flock, just like Jacob did when he came to the well. And we know what happens after that. Sadly, however, his final act of watering the flock is actually what kept him from going into the promised land, because he was supposed to speak to the rock by faith, but he got angry and did not obey. He hit the rock, and of course the water came out. I believe that's significant and symbolic as well, where he hit that rock. The water came out. The people were still given that water, but Moses here watering that flock the way that it wasn't intended to be done. And so we needed another example, someone who was going to keep the Father's will perfectly and lead us into the promised land. Of course, Moses didn't get to go into the promised land. Joshua later would, and he would have the Ark of the Covenant in front leading the way. But the next shepherd, the one that we've talked about before, is David. David was one of those shepherds who was humble, who was doing his father's will, taking care of his father's sheep. And he tells us, this is before Goliath, that there was a lion and a bear that had taken a lamb out of the flock, and he killed them. Well, the wording is different. I mean, it almost sounds like a singular event when you read it, where David's telling Saul that he was essentially keeping his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. And he says, I went out after him and smote him. Sounds singular to me, even though it's a lion and a bear. And delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard. Sounds like a lion's face right there. And smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. So now it's plural again. And the reason I think there's a distinction isn't seen until we get to Revelation, where you see the beast which he saw was like unto a leopard. His feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And it says the dragon gave him power and his seat and great authority. And guess what? One of his heads was as it were wounded to death. Think about Goliath, his head wounded to death. It says that stone sunk into his forehead. And so that deadly wound, and people of the world wondered after it. And this little beast figure was the one that is going to be making war with the saints and try to overcome them. But guess what? Further in Revelation, we see what happens to this beast. When the beloved Son returns, it says here, out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. With it he should smite the nations, those that are against his people. And not only that, if you read on further, it says that these both, the false prophet, that beast and the false prophet, these both were cast into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, the beloved Son on that horse, who's also looked at as a shepherd came to Jacob's well, that same well, the one with the 3 flocks of sheep, where you see Jacob's well being there, and it says, Jesus therefore being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well. He's sitting on the well. What was on that well when Jacob first got there? A giant stone with 3 flocks of sheep around it. And it says here, it was about the 6th hour, and there cometh the woman of Samaria to draw water, and Jesus said unto her, give me to drink. This is where it gets fascinating, because she says to him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. And Jesus answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. This confused her, and it used to confuse me as well, because she said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence thou hast that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well? So remember, this is Jacob's well, and it says, and he drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle. And Jesus answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water which I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. Why is this so significant? Well, he tells us that the Father knows him, and even so, I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Laying down his life for the sheep. Sounds a lot like a shepherd, a lot like young King David, going after the bear and the lion. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, and I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. And now, check this out. Revelation again, 7:17. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne, this is during the millennial reign, shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters. And Yahuwah shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. He's referred to as a lamb right here. His Father is greater than all, and his Father is wiping away the tears from our eyes. So you have that lamb aspect. In Revelation, the Most High being the ultimate, final, 7th shepherd right there with his flock, that he is wiping away the tears from their eyes. It reminds me of the first powerful miracle I've ever had, and the most powerful miracle I've ever experienced, where he did just that to me, where I was brokenhearted, tears just pouring out, having my pity party, when he wiped away those tears and gave me a brand new heart. And not just brand new, it was better than it was before. And so, a taste of what's to come, something that is so powerful, having to do with all those shepherd encounters. There were 6 of them, with this one here, I believe, being the 7th one, and the final one. And we hear about that fountain of living waters, and when you go back and look at this fountain of living waters through the prophet's words, you see that it's referring to the Most High here as well, where he's saying, my people have committed 2 evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters. And they've essentially made these broken vessels, these broken cisterns that can hold no water. This was his long suffering. You see a lot of suffering that he's gone through as his patience, and he has waited and waited for people to turn to him, that fountain of living waters. And it's our jobs to prepare people to get closer to that fountain of living water until the day that we can be resurrected together and experiencing this moment right here, where the Lamb that's in the midst of that throne is feeding us and leading us to this fountain of living waters. It is a beautiful story. It's powerful. It involves all of these shepherd-like encounters pointing us in a direction that leads us to the right place, that fountain of living waters. Something that I see as just being such a beautiful story of a father's love, where he's bringing us all to the same place, a lot of us seeing the same things at the same time. And it's for a reason. So I wanted to share this. It's something that just is continually blowing my mind. I know there's more to it. And so I thank you guys for sharing what you're seeing with this and being a part of this journey with us, because it's life changing. It's changing the lives of so many people right now seeing these things. And so I thank you for helping us share these things in spite of all the censorship and persecution you guys are enduring. I appreciate it. And I look forward to being there with you when these things are happening. It's something that when we all unite and we're together in person, I just feel like we're with our family, our eternal family, the one that's going to be spending eternity together. So thanks again for being a part of this and staying humble and growing with us as we work to do things right. Even though we make mistakes, we're not perfect, and some of the things we might have even said during this little presentation may not be perfect. And so thank you for your correction and your patience as we learn together. We're all equal here. And so just wanted to share this while the family is away. Have some peace and quiet. We're on vacation right now, but I wanted to share this real quick and see what you guys think, and look forward to the studies to come. And so stay awesome, stay humble, and we will see you guys around real soon.